From the Mount Washington Radio Group online newsroom, I'm Gare McKenzie. The National Weather Service has issued a wind chill advisory for the listing area until 10 o'clock this morning. A wind chill advisory means very cold air and winds will combine to generate low wind chills, will result in frostbite and lead to hypothermia if precautions aren't taken. Forecasters recommend wearing a warm coat, gloves, and hat if you need to go outdoors. The fire chief in Conway says it's important to have working smoke detectors and take proper precautions to prevent a fire after his firefighters responded to 2 house fires Saturday night. Steve Solomon says a first alarm was declared shortly after 5 o'clock, and his department in North Conway firefighters responded to a report of a house burning at 120 Crescent Drive in Conway. Firefighters from Center, Conway, Redstone, and Madison also eventually joined. Solomon says on arrival at the 1.5-story wood frame house, firefighters
found heavy fire in the basement of the building. They were able to make it into the basement and knock the fire down. That's no small feat. Basement fires are very difficult to access. The heat just blasts right up the stairway, and that's how you have to get into it. But they did a great job. They got into the basement and knocked the fire down very quickly.
Chief says it then took a considerable amount of time to overhaul the fire because of the amount of cardboard boxes and other items stored in the basement. He believes the fire started because combustible material like cardboard was stored too close to the wood stove and a burning ember might have come in contact with it. The chief says you should keep combustible materials like that at least 3 feet from a heat source like a wood stove or portable heater. Solomon says a man who was staying at the house noticed the lights had blinked and he tried to get into the burning basement, but it was too hot and he got a little singed before escaping the house. He was otherwise not hurt. Here's Solomon again.
Later Saturday night, we actually were out in another fire at the Pine Hill Cabin. That one was contained to a very small area, but it's still a fire in the building. There we're fortunate they had an operating smoke detector because it woke the occupant up that was sleeping and allowed him to get out of the building unharmed. This time of year, with it being so cold, a lot of people are using their heat more than usual, using auxiliary heating. We just constantly remind people, make sure you're maintaining your heating appliances, that somebody is servicing them, you have proper clearance around wood stoves and space heaters, and that you have operating smoke detectors. Those things will save your life.
Chief says there is some structural damage to the house on Crescent Drive, but it's not a total loss. About 24 firefighters were at the scene. No one was hurt. The last unit cleared the scene about 8:15 Saturday night. In Maine News, Governor Paul LePage says implementing managed care in the state's Medicaid program will cause the quality of medicine to drop along with the costs for the state. The governor told reporters yesterday he used to be a fan of the managed care idea, but the promised savings aren't realized in the end. The governor says he's in favor of accountability care organizations. He says don't require a third-party corporation to become involved in the state's Medicaid program. The Democratic-controlled legislature is considering a bill from Assistant Senate Republican leader Roger Katz, under which the state would contract with several managed care organizations that compete for Medicaid recipients. Katz said it would result in a 5% savings in the state's Medicaid program. In sports, the Boston Bruins beat the New York Islanders 6-3 last night. The Celtics head to Madison Square Garden tonight to take on the Knicks. And veteran Boston Red Sox broadcaster Jerry Remy says he'll return this season after his leave of absence. In the weather, a wind chill advisory in effect until 10 o'clock this morning, becoming partly sunny today. Highs 11 to 20. West winds around 10 miles per hour. Wind chill values as low as 28 below zero. Partly cloudy tonight, lows around 3 below with light winds. And mostly sunny Wednesday, highs around 20. From the Mount Washington Radio Group online newsroom, I'm Gare McKenzie.